Hi everyone. Okay, going.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible. Is my voice echoing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
my voice is echoing.
No, my voice is echoing. Your voice is okay to me.
To me, it's echoing.
To me, it's echoing. No. Anyone from the viewers are the voice echoing? Any of the voice are echoing? Please write it down in the comment section.
Is there any problem with the
Is there
audio?
any
Please let
problem
us
with the
know.
audio? Please let us know. Yeah. That's what. Continue. Okay,
Okay.
so it's all right. So good
Good evening,
evening,
everyone.
everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, both. Good evening, Shruti Tirtha Bhattacharya, and good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good evening.
We have
Thank
our
you.
speaker today. So today we'll be discussing about climate change and its aspect.
Yeah.
Open your extra device. Okay. So now I think
Okay.
it's
So,
proper. Yes.
yeah, yeah, it's fine to me.
Okay. Viewers,
Yeah.
everything is okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So
So we
today
can
we have
begin.
yeah. Just let me introduce you.
Mhm.
So we have Shruti Tirtha Bhattacharya, and he is a student of Gurucharan College, Silchar, and he's a student of Assam University too. And he is really fond of gazing stars. So his Instagram ID is stargazer, and very much fond about climate and environmental works too. So today we'll be knowing about more about climate issues and climate changes and its aspects and various things through his and our discussion today. So yes, speaker
Okay.
sir, up to you.
Okay. So
So
basically, we first of all have to understand what is the difference between climate and weather. So what
okay,
we experience in a day-to-day basis. For example, today, right now it's raining, but it is supposed
yeah,
not to rain. It has to be sunny, but it is raining. It's because it's a change in the atmospheric conditions, and that's temporary. And that's why we are getting rain in the first place. But if you,
yes,
on the other hand, take a long-term record of all the things, say for example, if we start observing from 2000 to 2020, in this 20-year interval, if we start
yes,
observing, then we will see that there is a rise in temperature. And I have one graph right now in front of me, so let me show this to you. I got it from the internet. Is it visible,
okay.
the graph?
I think no, it's not visible.
Not
If
visible?
audience can see
Wait
that,
a minute. Can anyone see it? No, it's not visible.
I think it's not visible. No, it's
Okay.
not visible.
Anyways, it can be
Okay,
found
you
on
can
Google.
just
No,
share it
not a
and I'll
problem.
share it. Okay.
Okay. So actually, what we understand about climate change, most of us,
Hmm.
we have one big confusion, and that is between weather and climate. We just can't differentiate, and that's why we
Hmm.
mostly say climate change is lie. So there is one example, someone from the tropics, he lives in the equatorial region, he flies to Greenland, and then he says that it is so cold in Greenland, it is minus 20 degrees Celsius there. So how come global warming is there? Global warming is not there. But that is a complete lie. We can't say it like that, because you are living in the tropics. Now, if you ask anyone who is living in Greenland, if you ask
Yeah.
that particular person, he will say, no, it was minus 20 degrees Celsius last year and now it is minus 10 degrees Celsius. So there is a change, and it is not a
Okay.
sudden thing. It happens
So
after
like
a
most of
period of time. Yes,
yes. Yeah, yeah. Your
yes,
connection
sir.
was little, problem. Some glitches were there.
Oh,
Okay, continue.
should I repeat any part? Should I repeat any part?
Repeat the previous sentences. It will be nice to listen again.
Oh, sure. So what I was saying, that we have a problem, we have a confusion about climate and weather. So
Mm.
if you are living, say for example, in the tropics, let's consider we are living in Silchar. Now from
Yeah.
Silchar, I go to Greenland, which is a very cold place. I will go to Greenland and I will complain that where is global warming? It is minus 20 degrees, icy here, I am freezing. But you can't say it like that. You ask someone living in Greenland that, sir, ma'am, are you feeling any difference in it? She will say, of course I'm feeling it, because in my place once it was minus 20 degrees Celsius, now it is minus 15.
Yeah.
So basically it is the tendency. It's not one day, it is a tendency, and that's one of the.
It's prayer time, so I think
Wait a
we
minute.
should just wait for little time. We have little, like it will be just over soon.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay. So you can continue.
Okay,
Sorry for the inconvenience. I hope nobody
no,
will
it's
mind
fine,
it.
it's fine, it's fine. It's a
Okay.
good thing. Anyway, so
Yeah.
now NASA satellites, they have been tracking
Yeah.
our atmospheric composition, and they have been
Mm.
orbiting Earth for quite a long time. And according to their observation, the amount of carbon dioxide has already increased in the atmosphere, and it's
Yes.
increasing in an alarming way. And we all have to take it into account. Although we have to be vocal about our local, but also we should talk about the global issues, because we
Yes.
are, say for example, we are doing for Barak Valley. Someone living there in Guwahati will do for Guwahati. Someone living in Kolkata for Kolkata. Together we make a
Yes.
chain of global events.
Yeah.
That's what Fridays for Future is for. Yes.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
and that's why we need to be very vocal about local, as well as we have to be aware about the global events that are happening. Moreover,
Yes.
climate scientists, some of them I have seen in Facebook, I follow a lot of them. They have shown that
Mm.
the ice cores, they extract from Antarctica
Mm.
or from Greenland, they extract the ice cores. The ice cores contain prehistoric atmospheric gases that are trapped. When it rains, they take up the gas dissolved in it, and this gas literally freezes, and with time they form layer upon layer, and the gases are trapped as bubbles. If you comparatively study those gases, then you will find
Mm.
that those gases contain that amount of carbon dioxide which is right at this moment double or triple. That is, 1000 years ago, the amount of carbon
Mm.
dioxide which was at that time, now it has doubled and even tripled. That is a big problem with us, and we
Okay.
have to take it into account. Then, yeah, that's one
So
big
like
problem we have to address.
yes,
Mhm.
like as you said, we need to go global, but at first we need to be vocal. We should not forget
Yes,
being vocal too. So like we
about
have
the
different
local.
aspects of climate. Yeah, we have different aspects of climate change every places like a local or global. So can you just point out some aspects of it so that we can just know more about it?
Yeah, sure. So, see, global warming, as we know, it's actually a big thing and it has a lot of impacts. Oh, actually, when
Yes.
I post something regarding climate on my Instagram or Facebook, I often refer to it as the mother of all crises. And that's one
Okay.
reason, because with this, you will get a lot of crises happening. For example, food
Yeah.
crisis, then we will have water crisis, economic crisis is one. So,
Yes.
although the fossil fuels are the driving force of our economy, but we have to understand that they are having a negative impact, an equal negative impact on us. And we have to take that into account, and we have to understand that we have to boycott these things. Clean energy is the only thing right now. We only
Yes.
alternative for us. That is very important. Now, if we look at the evidences of climate change, then we have, say for example, sea level rise. In sedimentary rocks, the sea level rise, it can be seen, the marks can be seen. You can understand not only from sedimentary rocks but from other records as well. Then we have ocean acidification. That's because the dumping
Yes.
of industrial waste, they create a lot of problem. Like mercury, for instance, these are used in industries. If you drop mercury in water, that would lead to extinction of fishes, because mercury is toxic by nature. We all know that. And
Yes.
another thing is glacial retreats. For example, if you look at the satellite images of the Arctic, you will see that the ice is going away. It is melting at a dramatic speed. If the ice melts, it will have a lot of problem,
Yes.
because the ice will release tons and gallons of fresh water into the ocean, and this will disrupt
Yeah.
the global conveyor belt, which we call the ocean currents. If the ocean currents are disrupted, not only the earth's climate will be disrupted, but also the sea level, also the sea creatures, they will face a lot of problem, because
Yeah.
the nutrient
Exactly.
cycling is also happening in the sea, you know. So
Mm.
we have to understand that this entire emission is causing a lot of
Mm.
problem here. Melting of polarized caps is one of the biggest threat. And just today, actually, I got another
Yes.
news from some
Mm.
Instagram page that by 2035, Arctic will be
Yes.
completely ice free. And this is very concerning. If Arctic gets
Yeah.
completely ice free, then
Mm.
the problem that we are going to face, it's just beyond description. Because the albedo, that we know, that the amount of sunlight that enters is reflected back to space because of the
Yeah.
white snow that is covering it. Now, if we are losing the white snow, then the albedo effect will be reduced, and as a result, more heat will be trapped. And as more heat will be trapped,
Yes.
this will result, of course, in temperature rising in that particular locality. So this is another problem, another aspect that you mentioned here. And there are a lot of aspects. For example, if we consider the ice melting, the atmospheric composition being disrupted. This year we had
Mm.
this Australian bushfire. You remember that?
Yeah.
Big
Yeah. Yeah.
Australian, great
Exactly.
Australian bushfire in New South
Mm.
Wales. It almost killed so many animals there.
Yes.
So what caused it? I don't know much, because I'm not a climate scientist, but I have read various research papers which say
Yes.
that the southern oscillation, it's actually a meteorological phenomenon that is driven mostly by climate change. So
Okay.
what happens is,
Yes. Yes.
audio, something problem
Just.
with the video.
I think you're not visual. Like it's
I'm
seem
with,
blurred. Little.
God
I
knows, my
think connection.
internet
There
connection.
is some connection problem. Yeah. Yeah. I think there is
Oh,
connection with
what
your.
is,
Yes.
oh, is the
Yes.
audio visible, by the way? Huh?
Yeah. Audio
Okay,
is
then
appropriate. Audio is.
the audio is main here. So let's continue.
Yeah, okay.
Any
Okay.
problem?
No worries.
So
Okay.
where I was, uh,
Um,
so basically, that's because we have to take that into account, that climate change, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of aspects of climate change. What I was discussing
yes.
earlier, this is also one of them, albedo effect and the rest. Also, we have to understand that if the ice melts, then not
Mm.
only the albedo will be dramatically reduced, but also some greenhouse gases will be emitted back to the atmosphere, and this
Mm.
change in the composition of atmosphere will create a lot of problem. And about
Yes.
southern oscillation that I talked about, the Australian bushfire, it has been intensified by climate change. and that's why we had severe bushfire in Australia. That's one.
Okay.
And there are a lot others, basically a lot others.
Yeah. So,
There are
like
actually
again,
plenty.
yes,
Mhm.
there is plenty, aspects of climate change, and most of them we are all, concerned about, aware about, but we just forget to act on that. I think that is the problem that we are facing now. This youth generation is facing, that we are, like, lagging behind to act. Other than, we know the facts that there is an Australian bushfire, or the Amazon of the earth was
Mhm.
burning. Like, there is many things that we know, but just that we are
Yeah,
lagging behind with the action to take place. So again, there is people, we say climate change a hoax. So what is that? Like, again we say there is climate change, again we deny the fact that there is no climate change. So there is both people's thing perception on that, right?
denial denial according to me is completely ridiculous. When you are having NASA satellites orbiting Earth, you have NASA satellites orbiting Earth. Scientists who have worked for 50 years in that field, they are saying climate change is happening, and we some people
Yes.
are saying that it is a hoax. I find it completely ridiculous. And yes, much of the denial is actually driven by the personal interest, money interest. You are getting money from
Okay.
a corporate sector, you are getting money from them, so you are not going to say that no, climate change is happening, because that's going to cut your supply of money. So some people are, for the same money cause, they are doing. But yet we have countries like
Yes.
New Zealand who are trying to uh, be carbon neutral, and I have seen quite a lot. And really, Jacinda Ardern, she's the Prime Minister of New
Yeah.
Zealand. She has been working hard to make New Zealand carbon neutral.
Yes, exactly. She is
So
working really hard.
yeah,
She's really doing good
I
at that
appreciate
kind of
that.
fields. Everything. Yes.
And India should
So
do the
like,
same actually.
yes, hope so. It will be very
India
soon
should do the same.
turning to something, a green country, like,
Otherwise,
for setting an
yeah,
example to other countries.
yes, of course.
Yes.
Otherwise, if if it goes out of control, climate change, if it goes out of control, then what is going to happen? No one knows. Because last time we had Amphan, remember the Amphan cyclone?
Yeah.
It is
Cyclone.
because it is also because of climate change. Because as the
Exactly.
oceans get warmer, and the
Hmm.
cyclone that gets its energy from the heat of the ocean, they keep growing bigger and bigger, and they will intensify to such an extent that
Hmm.
some storms which are even stronger than Amphan will come. That's really a big thing, because we saw what Amphan did to West Bengal,
Yeah.
what Fani did to Orissa. So you have to be very vocal about that.
Even the locust attacks, which was, like, unpredicted one. It was to India, to Pakistan, to many other countries, and many other states of us, I mean India, which was really badly affected with the locust attack. It was all
Yep.
uncertain, and they are also just an example saying that climate change is real, and that's are all the effect of climate change. But just that
Yeah.
we are getting back to it, that when, that, like I said, people say climate change is a hoax, and many deny the fact.
Another reason why people deny is because they don't understand climate and weather. In fact, I myself get WhatsApp messages from people saying that, hey, it is so hot out there, hey, it is so cold out there, where the hell is global warming? So I say
Yes.
that, bro, you are so much confused with climate and weather. You have to
Yes.
first go and search in Google what is climate and what is weather, then come to me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of problem.
Exactly. Like, the today's session, we started with the difference between climate and, weather, because many people
Yes,
are saying, like, my place is so cold, why you are saying climate is changing? Like, there is kind of,
it
a
varies.
misconception. Yeah, and misconception
It
among
varies
the
from place to place.
people, among many youths. Yeah. So, like, when
If
you
you
talk
see the
about
graph,
climate change is
uh,
global. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
uh, so when you see the graph, actually, most people believe in
Mm.
graphs, of course. So when you see the graph,
Yes.
you take observation yourself. You will see how the trend is rising like that. It's rising,
Hmm.
actually. We don't get it.
Yeah.
It is rising. And if you talk about much about the aspects of climate change, there are a lot,
Hmm.
like the pandemic happening for some instance. In
Yes.
the ice cores, there could be some deadly bacteria, some deadly pathogen that is
Yeah.
frozen in suspended animation right now.
Hmm.
Now, if the ice melts, what if it emerges out of the ice? It can lead to another havoc. Now we are having this
Yes.
coronavirus pandemic, though
Hmm.
the researchers are still into it, that what caused this pandemic in the first place. There are a lot of
Yeah.
conspiracy theories. I'm not going to
Yes.
talk about these conspiracy theories attacking one country and other. We don't have evidence right now about that,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's
Exactly.
better we
We
not
cannot
talk.
just. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
like today we are at Fridays for Future, Barak. So, when we talk about, like like you said, we can create a chain of movement of groups together. We can raise our awareness, like vocal for the local,
Yeah.
which will in turn will go for global. So, like when you talk about Barak Valley, what do you think are the effects of climate change, or what are the warning sign of climate change at Barak Valley?
Actually, there are a lot of effects visible right now in Barak Valley. There are a lot. Although we don't talk much about it, we are talking about Amazon
Hmm.
and the rest. But in our very own eyes,
Yes.
Barak Valley is changing dramatically. Say, for
Hmm.
example, in the Barail Hills, North Kachar Hills, shifting
Yeah.
cultivation and this things, they have encroachment, they have completely devastated the forest cover.
Yes.
Deforestation
Yes.
has reached its peak level right now, and we have to be very
Hmm.
vocal about it. Cutting of
Yes.
trees is not an option. Of course, it is not. And if we had planted more trees, that would have been a different scenario. We are cutting down
Yeah.
trees and increasing the amount of fossil fuel industries. Now that's going to cause a lot of problem. We have to understand that. And we, most of
And
us, they deny,
yes.
as I said, because of money matters.
So many a times we see the NC hills, the river beds are also, there is sand mining, which also lead to, like, kind of ecosystem disturbance, because many of the freshwater animals like fishes and other creatures are impacted with that sand minings that are, basically the recent post that I have seen. It's about on I guess 20th of this month, 8th of this month, which was the recent view of the NC Hill River Jatinga sand mining. So that's also
Mhm.
kind of things that we should consider when we talk about Barak Valley, because once upon a time, recently it has been taken to a you know different area, but before that it was considered under Barak Valley. So we should, when we talk about Barak Valley, we should consider that too, I think. And there are also warning sign for the Barak Valley, right?
Yes, of course, these are warning signs for Barak Valley. Because we need regulations right now. As you talked about
Yeah.
sand mining, if we don't
Hmm.
do the regulations and start illegal mining, that would be a great problem. Now, say for
Yes.
example, a tiger is bothering people, it's killing, so you have to shoot it down. Now, there is also regulation for that. You can't shoot it, you have to tranquilize it. Now, if you start
Yeah.
poaching, that means this is completely illegal, what poachers do.
Mhm.
And I often mention
Yes.
it in places that poachers should be given capital punishment. I often mention this because simply I hate poachers. Why would they do that? This is simply illegal things. Nah? A lot of this going on. Like for our Kaziranga,
Yes.
so many
Yeah.
rhinos are hunted in broad daylight.
Yes.
It's such a big problem. And another thing I forgot to mention is that
Yeah.
natural climate change and man-made climate change. Some people don't
Okay.
accept the fact that humans are responsible for climate change, but we are
Yes.
responsible because what nature does in climate change, it takes, for example, 4 to 6 lakh years for these things to happen.
Hmm.
For example, the eccentricity of Earth's orbit around the sun, it happens because
Hmm.
the gravitational tug of Jupiter and Saturn, they have enormous gravity and they dominate over our solar system. Their gravity can
Okay.
shape Earth's orbit. Sometimes they make it circular, sometimes elliptical. That results in changes of season. Interplanetary gravitational field can also affect the Earth's tilt. That can also cause seasonal changes. As it will
Okay.
tilt more towards the sun, the amount of sunlight
Hmm.
received here will be more, and as a result, ice will be lost. Now, if its obliquity is changed, then also there will be a
Hmm.
lot of icing. It will be an ice age over. So
Yes.
these happen at an interval of 75 to 1 lakh years. But what we are doing, we
Okay.
are changing the earth in almost a decade. 2 decades to three
Hmm.
decades, we are completely changing the face of earth. And we have to realize that, because what is anthropogenic climate change is much more dangerous than the natural one. Natural one gives you time to adapt. But when you are talking about anthropogenic climate change, that is not going to give you any time to adapt. All
Yes.
you will be left with nothing. That will lead to the sixth mass extinction that is currently taking place. The sixth mass extinction,
Yes.
and we mention it in
Yes.
every place.
Yes. Right. You are exactly
Hmm.
true about what you said. Like, changes, some are the natural and some are what we man-made. So I think basically this mass extinction will be due to the man-made cause rather than natural cause, right?
Yes, man-made, of course, it's very problematic. It will cause a lot of
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah. So like I know there are many people or many things that we read day by every day, or get informations that man-made causes of what are the things. So can you bring out some points of Barak Valley that will lead to some kind of climatic change or some kind of ecosystem problem that are happening in Barak Valley right now, presently, if we talk about
Right
present
now, yeah.
conditions of Barak Valley?
See, there are many projects that are taking place, and with media coverage is not enough here, and that's why you have to be very vocal about the local, which I already said earlier. That is
Yes.
when we are cutting down a lot of trees in Barak Valley. A lot of trees.
Hmm.
I see a lot, because when you go to Mahasharak, you will see
Hmm.
it's in complete devastation. Mahasharak.
Yes.
There is always this landslide happening. Tree, every
Hmm.
place is like denuded. There is no tree there.
Yeah.
Forest cover has dropped dramatically, and that is why trees have a lot of work. Those who are
Hmm.
studying botany, they know a lot, because the trees that
Yes.
do transpiration, and transpiration leads to a cooling effect, and and a lot more. But if we cut the trees down, they are like the natural air conditioners for us. Now if we
Hmm.
destroy the air conditioner, we are going to suffer, of course. We have to
Yes.
realize these things very much. And about Barak Valley,
Yeah.
deforestation is what I see as as the biggest threat. And then about the
Hmm.
ecosystem things that are happening, we are
Hmm.
doing overfishing, then we are doing overgrazing. Now say for example,
Hmm.
you are going and planting some trees there. Huh? Now what happens is that someone gets their goat in, their sheep in, their cows in, they do overgrazing, your work is completely destroyed. That is a
Yes.
big problem, which is overgrazing.
Hmm.
Now we have overfishing. I go to your Barak river, and then somehow through some magical device, I start pulling out every fish from the water. What is left then? Nothing. So this is called overfishing, and these things we have
Yeah.
to consider while we are talking about this climate change and all,
Hmm.
because
Yes. Yes.
ecosystem damage is another problem.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
even if we see that climate change is also related to the overfishing, or meeting the supply and demand meets and supply meets, like when there is some imbalance between all these two, then this also leads to kind of
Yes.
impact on the climate change. Might
Yes.
be little or more, but it has impact, so which we should consider both simultaneously. So if we again talk about Barak Valley, so what do you think are the warning signs that people of Barak Valley, especially I would today I'll be talking about youths of Barak Valley, because Barak Valley has a lots of youth potential to bring change that we see day by
Yeah.
day in
Honestly.
every places of Barak Valley, and which I am also being a uh, you know my birth, my everything is at Barak Valley, so I'm also a resident of Barak Valley. I'm also grateful to be at Barak Valley. And talking about the youths of here, what do you think are the warning signs for the youths that they should consider about the climate change of Barak Valley?
Yes, about Barak, we see a lot of warning signs. For example,
Yeah.
suddenly we are seeing the temperature rising. That's a big thing. Then we are seeing
Hmm.
all the expansion of the cities that are happening right now. This expansion of cities is also a problem, because we are cutting trees. to make buildings out there. Now there is actually, you can't stop this population growth. You can't stop building houses. You should build
Yeah.
houses, but you have to be innovative about that. Say for example,
Yeah.
there is a forest land and there is a marshland. Marshland
Hmm.
release a lot of methane into the atmosphere. Methane is one of the
Hmm.
leading greenhouse gases, and trees, they are giving in oxygen. Now
Yes.
which one will you choose? You will choose marshlands, of course,
Absolutely.
but people don't choose
Yes.
marshlands. They go and cut down the trees. You in fact build one on the marshland, you do
Hmm.
some landfill, then you make one on the marshland. The amount of
Yeah.
methane it is releasing, that will be cut off, and also we will have this forest giving off a lot of oxygen. This is
Yes.
very important. And
Hmm.
our youth, as I have mentioned, in online campaign we are doing so much. Like for Dehing Patkai, we almost own it, right? Because we have
Yeah.
finally stopped it in a way in Dehing
Hmm.
Patkai. And now if we talk about Gandhi Bagh, we have been very vocal
Yeah.
about Gandhi Bagh. Even I was there in the protest of Gandhi Bagh to save Gandhi Bagh, because
Yes. Okay.
and Gandhi Bagh is another lung of our town. There are so many trees
Yeah.
there. And then finally,
Yes.
through various online
Hmm.
campaigns, various demonstrations, finally we were able
Hmm.
to terminate the project in a way. Now I don't know whether
Okay.
if they begin, we will go again on the field. We will try to resist.
Yes.
Of course, we have to
We are
resist.
together this time. Yes.
Yeah, and everyone should be, because it's an existential crisis. It's an existential crisis, and we have to understand that. If we don't be vocal about that, then we will face a lot of
Yeah.
problem in the future, and we have to be
We should, I
very
think,
much,
vocal for the local.
yeah, yeah, we have to be vocal for the local, very much
Yes.
vocal.
Like there is many like kind of problem that's been seen in Barak Valley, like as I said, sand mining, deforestation, and you have mentioned about the Gandhi Bagh, which was the there were some projects going on. So there will be many
Yeah,
other problems that will be coming in the future, near future, in passing years or passing months. So I think like
yeah,
what you would like to bring to the noise of the youths, like youths are really going to play a vital role in every kind of things that is going to impact the environment and climate, because we owe the art for our future. So what will be your message
yes, yes.
for the Barak Valley at all,
Your audio is not visible. Although I got the question. Am I visible?
okay.
Anyone in the comment
No, you are
section?
not busy.
Am I audible?
Okay. Yeah, you are audible. Am
Okay,
I audible?
that matters. Yeah,
Okay.
there was a glitch in your audio, but now it's fine. So
Okay.
now I would like to highlight, as you said, I would like to highlight a few things about why activism is necessary. See,
Okay.
we can all do it, plant trees. Fridays for Future, we can all
Hmm.
go in bundle and plant as many as 1,000 trees, right? Now,
Hmm. Yeah.
all it will take is the government or any official to sign a paper and then say, cut down the trees. That is where climate
Yes.
activism kicks in. We have to resist them. We have to say, no, we are not going to allow this, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
that is why activism and plantation should be in parallel. And not only this, there should be multiple parallelism. For example, we have to make people aware. Social awareness is very important.
Hmm.
Say for
Okay.
example, me and you and a lot of people who are watching this live and who are going to watch it,
Hmm.
they they
Yes.
know about climate change and they are trying to do something,
Yeah.
but we are not getting the support we
Yes.
require from our local people. That's because of
Yes.
lack of awareness. If we let them
Yes.
know that we all are going through an existential crisis, and if we don't do anything
Hmm.
about it, then we are doomed, then only people will come. That is also called alarmism. We have to be
Yeah.
alarmists right now, and we have to tell people that
Hmm.
we are in grave danger. We have to do something before everything goes out of hand. And if everything goes out of
Yes.
hand, then all we can do is just cut the dates in the calendar, wait for our death, literally,
Yeah.
because that will lead to a
Okay.
lot of problems.
Yeah. Yeah. exactly. Like some places there is some communication problem, which is all fine. Like people are aware of the things that are happening, because the weather at a place and the
Mm.
climate at grand total is really different, and people get to understand this at a very low pace. Like my place weather is okay, so it's all fine. Most of the time we consider that, for which people deny the word climate change is real, right? What,
Yeah,
like the true sense, like we basically we look for our place weather. The weather at my place is so cool, and I don't feel like there is no kind of any climate change and all. But when we look at climate issues, so weather and climate is really different things that we have learned today. And like people watching this live today, I think they will have also learned about the astrology view of climate change, correct? If
astronomical
I am
view.
not wrong.
I
Yeah, astronomical.
oh, I didn't get it. Astronomical view of
Like
climate change. Well, if you are talking
like you
about
said, natural.
astronomical,
uh, yeah, yeah,
okay, natural
like the
climate change.
natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
these
what
are
I'm saying.
that's called Milankovitch cycle. Milankovitch cycle.
Okay,
It was
okay,
named after the
thanks
scientist
for
Milutin
correcting.
Milankovitch.
Okay,
Yeah, that.
great. So many people will be learning about that too also today. So that's what
Yeah,
today's live session was, to know more about the climate, weather, and the aspects of climate change. And especially to the youths of Barak Valley, let start acting before it's too late, because our
yeah,
action
yeah,
matters for our future generation too. It's not just for us and not for our future. Their futures, like it's a long stage of ongoing
yeah,
things that we should consider today, right?
yeah. Now I would like to add one more point. That is
Yeah,
about the local issues that we are facing.
yeah,
I have talked about
mm,
deforestation and a lot of things, but we have to take
yes,
one thing that from today we have to take a commitment, and that is where
yeah,
I have found this comment on Facebook that ripples
mm,
can be converted into tidal waves. I repeat, ripples can be converted into tidal waves. Now, what does this mean?
okay,
In your locality,
mm,
someone is trying to pollute
mm,
the drain. They are pouring all this bad stuff in in it, right? So you have
yes,
to stop them. You have to say that
mm,
no, you can't do that. You do it in your locality, I do it in my locality, and like that, if everyone in
mm,
their locality start doing it together, a small ripple, a small wave can be made, converted into a tsunami, and this will be a
yeah,
global surge, and we will be able
mm,
to change what we wanted to change. And Fridays for
mm,
Future has to come, uh, go through a lot of things to do, because I have been following
yes,
Fridays
yes,
for Future since 2019 January, and
okay, great,
so I have seen a lot of things about Fridays for Future, and I that's why I support it a lot. And we have that's why we have to work like this small stepping ways. We have to work and then finally make it a big picture. That is very important.
yes,
And so everyone who is watching it right now, I would like to say, start dealing with your own household problems, like the local problems that we discussed. And with these little
mm,
efforts that we are mentioned, someone mentioned in the comments as well,
mm,
with those little
yeah,
efforts, we can
yeah,
make a big thing, a big
great
impact,
sense,
and
yes,
big everlasting impact.
yes,
That is what matters. And we as youth have to come forward.
mm,
We have to make people aware of that something is
yeah,
happening. We have to stop it before things get out of control, and we should
yes,
carry
exactly,
this message forward to everyone,
mm,
literally.
yeah. So
And as a team we will do.
before conclusion, yeah,
Yeah,
before conclusion of the
mm,
topic today, we discussed and we learned
yeah,
today. And I think people watching this video live and who will be watching on the stories, do watch and do learn more about the climate aspects and climate change aspects. So what will be your last quoted sentence for the Barak Valley at all and the global, vocal for the local? Can you just uh, you know give something very great going vocal and local too with the global?
okay. So I will conclude with that. Say for example,
Mm,
we all have our own role. Now you can go out and say that we want climate justice. You can do the demonstration.
mm,
Someone
yeah,
living in his home can't do it. Living in his or her home
yes,
can't do it. because either they live in inaccessible areas or simply their parents don't allow. So for them,
Yeah.
we have the social media. They have the social
Yes.
media to do the work. Now, someone who is not even having that, let's consider there are a lot. They can educate their locality about it. That see, this is this is that. And if by
Yeah.
that way we can do it, the entire generation of us, we do it, we are vocal
Mm.
about it, then one day we will move forward, excuse me, and we will be able to stop what is happening. For that,
Yes.
first of all, we have to go to the local stage and then to the global stage.
Mm.
That would be my last
Yes.
sentence that I would be using here. Thank you for inviting
Okay.
me.
Thank you so much. So we'll be concluding our sessions today. Thank you so much, Shruti Tritha Bhattacharya, and
You're welcome.
being an being with us, Fridays for Future Barak is really inspiring for all of us, all the members of Fridays for Future Barak. And I think not only Barak, I think all the members of Fridays for Future family. Thank
Yes.
you so much, and thank you, audience, and thank you to me, and thank you to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I'll be ending the session. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
okay. Thank you.